In this video, we're going to take a look at the prompt, make sure we understand exactly what you are going to be answering, and then taking a look at this paragraph frame that you can use as support. So first of all, the prompt is, in a well-written paragraph, explain how Gandhi builds an argument to persuade his audience that civil disobedience is more effective than violence. Use textual evidence to support your response and explain your reasoning. The first part of the prompt you need to pay particular attention to is that you're explaining how Gandhi builds his argument. So he does that using those rhetorical choices that we analyzed in your guided annotations. And he makes those choices in order to persuade his audience that civil disobedience is more effective than violence. So I've given you some really important information there that he's building his argument. So we're looking at the rhetorical choices that he made to persuade his audience, and then I've given you his claim statement, civil disobedience is more effective than violence. Let's look at the paragraph frame. So in his speech on civil disobedience, Gandhi uses, and here you're going to identify a specific rhetorical choice. It can be any of those rhetorical choices that you learned about in your guided notes that we annotated in your blue workbook to persuade and identify who his audience is. That's what his central claim is. Then provide your text evidence. In his speech, Gandhi says, then you are finding a direct quote from the text that demonstrates the writing choice that you identified right here. And then you're explaining how that appeals or how that works to persuade his audience. How does it work to achieve his purpose? For example, we could choose to analyze the metaphor that he uses of the clapping hands. To persuade the British government in India is his intended audience, that civil disobedience is more effective than violence. And remember, I provided that to you right here in the prompt. In his speech, Gandhi says, and I need a direct quote that shows this metaphor. And that is the part that starts with no clapping is possible without two hands, and then the rest of that sentence, and then perhaps the one after. And then this appeals to his audience because clapping hands is a common everyday image that illustrates that both parties are required in order to be effective, just like the government and its subjects are required in order for the government to be effective. So you're explaining how his choice achieves that purpose of convincing the British government that civil disobedience is more effective than violence.